WMHC, the network of the Westport Museum for History and Culture, in partnership with CT Bites, presents the History Happy Hour, part of Westport Museum's Historic Foodways programming, in support of the hard-hit Connecticut restaurant industry. This series offers you history you can drink to via the talents of Connecticut's best bartenders and mixologists. Please support their establishments. Today's cocktail is the Martinez, a late 19th century cocktail that is the father of the Gin Martini, with Tim Cabral of New Haven's Ordinary. In the mid-1800s, a young New Haven bartender named Jerry Thomas went west to find his fortune in the California gold rush. After returning to New York City in 1851, Thomas opened his first saloon on the ground floor of Barnum's American Museum, owned by Connecticut native and circus master P.T. Barnum. Soon, Thomas became one of the most sought-after bartenders in the country, traveling America to manage saloons in cities like St. Louis, Chicago, and New Orleans. At San Francisco's Occidental Hotel, Thomas earned $100 a week in 1863, the equivalent of 2,000 modern-day dollars, and more than Vice President Hannibal Hamlin did at the time. At the Occidental, Thomas is said to have created the Martinez, a mix of vermouth, gin, bitters, and maraschino. Thomas included the Martinez in his world-famous bartending guide, but over time, a version featuring gin, vermouth, and an olive was developed into the modern-day martini. And now, the Martinez, with Tim Cabral of New Haven's Ordinary.
Hi, my name is Tim Cabral. I'm one of the owners of Ordinary here in New Haven, Connecticut. I'm here today with CT Bites and the Museum of History and Culture in Westport. Today we're going to be doing a video series on the history of drinks. Today I'm going to be working on a cocktail called the Martinez. The reason why I'm working on this cocktail is because it has ties to New Haven. A gentleman by the name of Jerry Thomas, who's considered to be one of the godfathers of bartending in our industry from the 1800s, he was raised here in New Haven. And then in his life, he traveled around the world, perfecting his craft, and became one of the most iconic bartenders of our day. This cocktail, like most cocktails, it doesn't have a clear path. We don't know exactly when or who created it, but it does have ties to Jerry Thomas when he was out in San Francisco at the Occidental Hotel in the late 1800s. And it did show up in one of his books in around the 1880s, so I'm going to be doing that today. So what this is, it's a cocktail that has equal parts gin and vermouth. In replace of gin today, I'm going to be using a product called Drops made by Continuum, which is a local distillery here in Connecticut. What they're doing is they're taking a lot of byproduct from local breweries and then distilling them down. Now, the reason why this can't be gin is because it doesn't have juniper, but it does have a lot of hops because they're using all of their hoppy beers to make this product. So it does drink comparable to a gin. So what this is 1.5 ounces of drops or gin. Then I'm going to be using Kochi Torino vermouth. Torino is a style of sweet vermouth. And this is equal parts, so this is also 1.5 ounces. And then 1/4 ounce of a maraschino liqueur. Now, most people have seen Luxardo. Varigliano came out by a gentleman, Henry Price, in his portfolio, and it's one of my favorites. It's extremely nutty. The cherry notes are fantastic, and then a little bitters. So with this bitters, I thought it'd be fun to also use Jerry Thomas bitters. Now, this cocktail itself is one of my favorites, and it's a precursor to the actual martini. So it is like a gin martini, but instead of a white vermouth, it's going to have a Torino style vermouth. We're also incorporating a little bit of maraschino liqueur just to get a little bit more in the body. Now, today we're going to be stirring this cocktail instead of shaking this cocktail. The reason why you want to stir a cocktail is because you want to chill and dilute without watering down or breaking. So the idea behind this is you want to fill your glass with ice. The better the ice, the better the cocktail. We have a 1x1 cube, so what that does is it allows the cocktail to get as cold as you want it to get without getting extremely watery, and that's also why you don't want to shake this style of cocktail. So we're going to give it a whirl. Let it get about 20 rotations through, get it nice and cold, but again, not broken or watery. And then we are going to strain it and serve it up. Now, the last ingredient to this cocktail is lemon oil. What you're going to do is you're going to peel just the zest of the lemon off. You want to take the skin side, point it down, and express it over the cocktail. Now, a lot of people don't or may not realize that what an impactful ingredient that is. It's going to be the first thing that you smell. It's going to be the first interaction that you have with it. If you smell your fingers after you squeeze it, you get this very, very bright citrus oil, which pops, and that's going to interact with the cocktail and what you're having. So the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to smell it. And by smelling it, it's going to be the first way to taste it. And then we're going to drink it. That is the Martinez.
Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of the History Happy Hour, where you can raise a glass to the past. For these recipes, music, and more, visit virtualhistorywestport.org. Join us next time for the 18th Amendment, a riff on the champagne cocktail by bartender Ralph Leone from the Cottage Restaurant in Westport.